Welcome to the People Teaching People podcast. Joining me on the podcast is Jill Law. I met Jill through a mutual friend in my mom of really young kiddos stage of life. Much more recently, in July 2023, Jill opened Social Grounds in the community of Oakridge, which is in Calgary, Alberta. The tagline for Social Grounds is coffee and all things social, and it really is an incredible community and social hub. They serve locally roasted coffee, local ice cream, and a variety of snacks. They host DIY craft events, yoga and fitness classes, and a variety of other social events, including open mic nights, games nights, and an afternoon high tea, just to name a few. Social Grounds also sells products made by local and Canadian small businesses. As the proud owner and operator of Social Grounds, Jill brings over 17 years of experience as a realtor in Calgary. With a passion for people, design, and planning, she thrives on creating meaningful connections and projects. Throughout her career as a self-employed professional, Jill often took on part-time roles, gaining valuable experience in sales, accounting, and community association work, all while staying energized and busy. These experiences certainly support the many roles that Jill takes on at Social Grounds, including barista, events coordinator, social media, bookkeeping, inventory, hiring, and scheduling. A longtime admirer of the community of Oakridge, Jill finally convinced her husband to make the move to the neighborhood 11 years ago. She believes it's the perfect place to raise their two children and one dog, and she cherishes the sense of community that Oakridge offers. Outside of work, Jill enjoys socializing, walking her dog, spending time in the mountains or on the beach, crafting, decorating both her home and shop, and of course, savoring a good cup of coffee. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jill.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I'm really glad you were persistent with me. I know you tried to get me on here about a year ago, but I think I was in the thick of setting up a business and very overwhelmed. So, yeah, thanks for inviting me again.
Of course. And sometimes it's all about timing, right?
Right.
Yes, and planting
Is-
the seed. So I'm really grateful that you said yes and made the time to connect with me
Yeah.
today. And I wanted to get started with really getting you to chat about the heart of Social Grounds and what inspired you to create this kind of community centered space.
Okay. There's quite a few different things that actually inspired me. So, we first looked at the space about 3 years before we actually did anything about it. It was always been my dream. I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. So, to start a business for myself and for my community. So, something that I was looking into is the fact that we didn't have a coffee shop and we have about 6,000 people living in, like within Oakridge. And then we have all these surrounding communities as well, and there was no real place for people to meet and gather. So I think that's what really inspired me, just wanting to do something, wanting to give back. I also needed a little nudge though from, my husband and my friends to take this leap.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're going to dive into more about what Social Grounds is all about, but I would agree. It's really this great community space. And before we sort of get into that part, I wanted to ask you about your previous experiences. So this could
Yeah.
be like business or otherwise, but what really helped you to take that action and bring the idea that you've
Yeah.
had in your head for a long time of Social Grounds to life?
For sure. Yeah. So for most of my adult life, I've been working in real estate. So, real estate, people think you just kind of pick and choose your own hours. But I found it very difficult to find a good balance with raising my family and the demanding hours of being a successful realtor. There's a lot of weekends and evenings, and me missing out on, the things that are most important to me. So, from then, I kind of like pushed back a little bit in real estate. Like it was stressing me out. So at that time, I just started collecting little side jobs. So some of the side jobs that I took on were three different community associations. So for them, I was doing like a lot of the admin work, some event planning, just dealing with the public, doing rentals, things like that. And then also dealing with volunteers. Another side job that I took on was working for an accountant. So I think that by working for the accountant, it really kind of fine tuned my organizational skills. And the employer that I had there just taught me how to be a good employer. He was very appreciative. He was willing to accommodate like the scheduling of, a busy parent and just always showed his appreciation. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So I think like the community center just showed me like how important community is and how much I love hosting events and doing things like that. And then the accounting side taught me, how to be more organized. Yeah, so all those things coming together, I'm like, we need a community center. But instead of me having to deal with the volunteers to get things done, I'm like, why don't I just do it myself? You know, I may not know anything about running a business or, anything about coffee or running a fitness studio or anything like that, but I think I do know people and I do know the need for connection.
And that
Mhm.
need for connection is so key. And I love how, in looking back, you see how all those pieces sort of came together and really supported you as you took on this new venture. And I imagine having a real estate background as well when you were navigating finding a space and sort of going through
Yes.
even that process and sort of making that investment, those skills would have been particularly
Yeah.
helpful too.
And I don't know, just always being responsible for myself, right? Like I always have to put my face forward in real estate. So any of my decisions are going to, affect how the public perceives me. And the same goes for social grounds too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
All right. So now you have social grounds and
Yeah.
with all the side jobs, as you say, that you had, and then along with that being like a wife and a mom and all those things, like you wear many hats and at social
Yeah.
grounds from barista to bookkeeper
Yes.
and probably everything in between and maybe some
You
things
know
you
it.
didn't even anticipate.
Hmm.
So what have you learned about yourself by stepping into all those different roles?
I think what I've learned about myself is just how capable I actually am. I think, by my husband just saying, you got this, right? It just kind of gave me the push that I needed to get into this. There's so many things that I didn't think I could ever learn. But I think that the fact that I'm the responsible one, I have to be the one to figure it out. So it motivates me to do so, right? Like I have to learn the point of sale machine. I have to learn how to do social media posts and take care of my employees and do all the ordering and all of that. So that is all on me. My husband is an owner, right? But more of a silent partner. He does have a job. So this is my baby and I have to make it work. So
Hmm.
I am capable. That is what I've learned.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Challenges appear and come up. You need to be able to do certain things and you figure it out.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
figure it out as you go. It's all just been nonstop learning and yeah, figuring it out as I go.
So lots of learning.
Lots of learning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I imagine like that sort of naturally leads into what I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
next because there's so much learning, as you said,
Yeah.
in starting your business in expected and unexpected ways. So I'm wondering, oftentimes the best learning can happen through those unexpected things or when things maybe didn't go quite as planned. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if there's a moment where something didn't go as you thought it would and what that experience taught you.
Yeah. So I feel like this happens daily. Where things don't go exactly as planned. But one thing that I can think of many years ago, while I was toying with the idea of starting a new business, I had just taken a nutrition course. So I thought, oh, why don't I start up a meal prep company? And this was before like there was HelloFresh or any of those big meal companies out there. So I just decided, hey, I want to do this. I want to just see how I can make this work. So I'm going to practice on like a dozen friends and just see if this would be feasible or what. So the first attempt I did, I came up with the most like complex recipes. I made like Vietnamese salad rolls. I made crazy soups. I worked like nonstop all weekend. And I didn't have any of the proper packaging. I was putting soup in Ziploc bags. It was a disaster. Like I was crying in the kitchen come Sunday night. Soup was spilt down my walls. It was in my curtains. It was everywhere. So that was horrible. But so then from there, I tried it a couple more times. I got the proper packaging, I made easier recipes. But then I just realized, this isn't for me. I don't even like cooking. I don't know why I'm doing this. I kind of just thought I'll hire somebody, to do it. But no, it wasn't for me. It wasn't feasible. It just wasn't fun either. So I don't look at that as failing. I look at it as that's kind of when I knew I was an entrepreneur and I wanted to do something. So the same thing applies to so many of the different classes and events that I host at Social Grounds. There are some that just don't make it for whatever reason, right? I just had to cancel a Neighbor Day celebration due to a low turnout. So, but I don't look at it as failing. I look at it as, okay, what are we going to do next? What is it that people want? How can we do this better? So there are some that we just let go. And, it does take a lot of time and effort to get these things going, but some just aren't meant to be. But it's all about learning what it is that the community wants and just going from there.
Experimenting, learning,
Yes.
reflecting. Yeah, learning from that and sort of moving forward. So, how do you decide what to try next? So, whether it's, a new event idea or bringing in a new product or maybe making a shift in direction, what kind of helps you to try these different things?
Yeah, when I first started Social Grounds, all of the events and all of the ideas were basically mine, right? And it took a lot. Now I find that I get so many people approaching me, like different practitioners wanting to put on classes or events for the community with the same vision in mind, like bringing people together. So I think it's often just like what the community wants and what other people want and listening to them, listening to their feedback. Yeah, so it's a lot. Like I get a ton of emails every week about people wanting to host classes or do events and things like that. So yeah, just learning from other people.
Social Grounds is like a community hub. It Some
Hmm.
people might initially think, "Oh, it's like a coffee shop in
Right.
our community or in a neighboring community." So, what would make it different? So, if somebody's thinking, "Oh, I'd like to go to Social Grounds, it sounds like a nice coffee shop." What
Yeah.
makes it innovative, not even just in what you offer, but in like the atmosphere or the experience that you're trying to create there?
Well, I think like the heart of social grounds is coffee, right? But I also kind of view social grounds as kind of like the cheers of coffee shops. So we get so many regulars, right? I call this one man who comes in everyday norm. You know, it's just like a space where people come, they instantly feel comfortable and they want to bring a friend in and enjoy a cup of coffee. You often see the kindness that it brings out in people. Like you get complete strangers complimenting each other. I've watched them like two women compliment each other and then hug, because it made their day. So we are also unique just because we do have the two studio spaces, right? We're so much more than just a coffee shop. We do have a yoga wellness studio and then also the DIY arts and crafts studio as well. So that's bringing people together. And then we also do events and other things in the evening. So we are coffee and all things social, as our logo says. So I think that's what sets us apart.
And along with that, also what you choose to bring in and sell and share with
Oh,
people in
yes.
your
Yeah.
space is so
Yeah.
interesting too. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a little retail corner. We only have Canadian products, and a lot of them just being from people in our community. Like earrings would be made within Oakridge community. We have some knitting that has been done through the Calgary Southeast Community Association. So they do the knitting, they volunteer their time, they use volunteered yarn, and then then they sell these pieces and then donate back to help families in need. So I really love that. We also have another lady who makes these like crocheted stuffed animals, and she donates everything back to this breast cancer fund. So I love bringing in these items that are going to help not just the person who made them, but maybe, to the organization that they wish to donate to. So I love just supporting other, entrepreneurs, other small businesses and
Well, and
creative people.
yeah, and
Yeah.
even like the coffee that you use and the ice cream
Yeah.
that you have, like,
Everything is local,
yeah.
every single thing. Yeah, ice cream's from Calgary. We use Calgary Heritage Coffee Roasters. I love supporting them, not only because they have the greatest coffee, but because of what they do. They supported me so much in setting up social grounds. Like, I had so many questions, and they just get back to me immediately, never made me feel stupid, got us all set up, and they do good things. They plant a tree for every bag of being sold. They donate back to the environment and for wildfire, fire relief, and they just do amazing things. So, yeah.
So even with social grounds being a community hub unto itself, it seems like you've really been thoughtful about within that space there's support given to like our broader community as
Yes,
well,
for
which
sure.
is
You got
amazing.
it. Yeah.
Now, people start businesses for all kinds of reasons, maybe some better than others. And what does it mean to you to build a business or something for the right reasons?
I would definitely say I never started social grounds to become rich and famous. No, and thank God for that. Right. Yeah, because it's definitely not happening. I started it because I love people and I wanted to give back because I also love our community. So I think some people just want to get into business, to find the fame and fortune. Maybe they're just buying a business because they just want to have a business, but not maybe focusing that business on what their passions actually are. So it would be like me maybe buying like a yarn store or a golf store, right? I don't know how to knit and I don't know how to golf. So that wouldn't, those wouldn't be the right reasons. That would just be me starting a business to be in business. So, I started Social Grounds. It was, for community, for connection, but I also love wellness. I love fitness. I love getting together with my girlfriends and doing a little craft and yeah, just bringing the people together.
Yeah, so it's very
Mhm.
authentic and true to
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
Now, along with growing and building a business, there can be a pace that kind of goes along with it. So, what does growing social grounds at that right pace mean to you?
Yeah, I don't think that anybody should grow a business too quickly. I think that's where mistakes are made. So we are just going slow and steady. I haven't done a lot in the way of marketing, and it was purposeful, right? Like, I don't want to get too busy, too big, too soon. Otherwise, we'd be completely overwhelmed and we don't have the proper systems in place. So, yeah, it's just like slow and steady. Most of our business is just coming originally from the people that I knew. We do live in the community, right? And then from there, we got more of the community members. Now we're seeing people from all over the city, which is really cool, just from like Google, from our Google reviews, or just word of mouth, which I really love. So I think that's all helping us grow. Every month, we're seeing, an increase over the last month or the last year, which is really cool. And it's all happening organically. So yeah, and then eventually there will be more growth as we get more comfortable and confident and have this place running 100% smooth in every part of it.
Mhm. I think you're doing an amazing job
Ah,
already.
thanks.
I don't know if you can, but if you were to pick a favorite part of running social grounds, what really fills your cup?
Oh, it's the people. It's just like being able to talk like all day. I'm just so grateful, for so many of the people that I've met. Like, I could say honestly, like, if I was to close the doors right now, like, if this didn't work out, it would not be a failure. It would just be like, I don't know, just the fact that I got to know these people, for me, that means success. Or the lives that we've touched by opening. Like, you see the grandparents coming in and reading with their grandkids. They sit there for an hour. Or we have this senior gentleman who comes in. who would walk across the street like a couple times a day just to have a place where he can talk to people. Like it was his social time. His daughter came in and just said, thank you for what you're giving him. So I'd sit with him, or my baristas would sit with him. And it just is like a place for him to come and, be part of something. So that number one is my most favorite part. I do love all the other parts, but it feels more like work. I think that feels more, I don't know, this is my family,
Yeah.
all these customers coming in.
Well,
Love
and
it.
you should say a little bit more about the corner that you have in your space that's
Oh, yeah.
dedicated for kids. It's so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, I just remember when I had little kids, my kids are teens now, but when they were little, there weren't many spaces that were very family welcome, we'll say, little kids welcome. You bring them to the big play places, and then suddenly you lose your 2-year-old, right? So very overwhelming. So my little corner at Social Grounds just it's simple. It's very simple fun, but the kids just gravitate to it. There's just books, there's just a little book tree, just a couple wooden toys, some X's and O's, and some coloring, but they just love it. They just like instantly go over there. Then parents can sit and have a coffee and chat, and it's special. Yeah,
And I
a
think,
place for everybody.
yeah, I think every time I'm there, I see kids enjoying that space. It's so
Yeah,
sweet. Yeah, I
yeah,
really like that. So, what is next? What do you kind of have brewing or you're thinking about when it comes to
yeah.
social grounds? Do you have some plans you're willing
Oh,
to share?
I'm always thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the problem with my brain. Yeah. So, no, always thinking, and growth has always been on my mind, but at the right time. My goal for this year, so we're just about to celebrate our second birthday. It's always been, I know I need a minimum of 3 years, to get under my belt. And that's when your business should be at the point where you're good, right? I think we're already good, but year 3 will be really good. So for September, I kind of plan on stepping back a little bit from my barista duties. I never would fully give that up because it's probably my favorite part. But I also want to grow the other sides of the business. I think coffee's doing amazing, but my workshops and classes and all of that need to be doing a little bit better. So that's what I want to focus more of my time and energy on this year, is getting those rooms like filled up every day, having the classes all fill up and finding out what it is that people want. So that's the goal for this year. I definitely never want this to become a franchise. I never want it to be so big. I want it to always feel like a small community business. But that being said, I do want to do it again. My goal is to do 3 locations. That is my goal. And maybe they're slightly different. Maybe this one is more about wellness. Maybe the second one is for music. And maybe the third is more the arts and crafts. So this is what I'm thinking of. It depends on where it is. It's got to feel right. It's got to mean something to me. Yeah, so we'll see what this year brings. We're going to get it 100% fine tuned and make it easy to start number 2.
that's exciting. And
Hmm.
you don't have to say any details, but do you have any places in mind?
Would just have to be something that somewhere that means something to me and my
Hmm.
family. It could be where we first came from. It could be maybe where my family lives, my extended family. Yeah, or just like another community that feels like Oakridge. So I do have a few ideas, but I'm not telling.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Lots of
Mhm.
exciting things coming up. And speaking of your family, I'm wondering how they've influenced you along this journey in terms of how you think about work and community and even learning.
Yeah. So me and my husband, Curtis, we've always kind of had like a tag, you're it part to our marriage, right? So, like from our 20s with him starting a new career to me starting real estate, then in our 30s with him starting his own business. And then now it's like, tag, you're it. It's time for you to start social grounds, right? So, I think that, our relationship is. It's very supportive. And we just, you got to put your life sort of on hold to let the other person thrive, right? And get that up and going. And then now maybe it's the other person's turn. Another thing, definitely, is the fact that I have loved being a mother. Like, it's definitely my most favorite role I will ever have in my life. But I always knew that I wanted to be more, right? I always needed more, right? And I have done this just to kind of show my children. I really wanted them to be proud of me. I wanted them to know that it doesn't matter where you come from or what life has thrown at you. Life is what you make it, right? It doesn't matter where you came from. You do it. Your destiny is your destiny. It's what you make it to be.
I love that within your family, like you and Curtis do the back and forth, but also so fantastic to really model for your kiddos. You had this idea in your head and you brought it to life, and
Mhm.
anything is possible.
And who says you can't be a wife, mother, and successful,
Yeah,
right?
right?
You can be it all.
You
So,
can. I
so
think
there,
that's
kids. Yeah.
so there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Now, if anyone is listening and thinking,
Mhm.
I think, I've always wanted to sort of start some sort of community focused business,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
I'd say you better really like people. There are some days you can be there and you basically talk all day long, right? So, say you've chatted for 8 hours and now you go home and you have a family who are instantly wanting to talk to you when you get home. There's plenty of days where I have to just lock myself in my room for an hour and just reset. So, you better really love people and do it for the right reasons, right?
Mhm.
So that's the only advice I could give. It's so rewarding. It is just as rewarding as children, honestly, like watching it grow and watching the impact that you can make on other people's lives. So, yeah, just love the people.
Just love the people. That's good advice. I love that advice. Now, I'm thinking, like you already sort of alluded to the fact, like all this sort of learning outside of the context of social grounds that you experienced. And I'm wondering if you have a favorite teacher along your journey. So this could be really anyone who's taught you or influenced you along the way. It could be in sports or school or work or life.
Mhm.
And when you think of that person, I'm also curious to why that person means so much to you.
Well, I think I've had a lot of really great teachers, but the person that I'm thinking about isn't a teacher, not in the traditional sense, anyways. I think the person that has taught me the most and who I would like to be most like is my dad.
Oh,
And the reason why is not because he ever held any like fancy titles or, ever made it rich or anything like that. But I think why I find him so amazing is just the fact that the way that he treats people. He'll meet you and instantly make you feel comfortable. He'll always remember your name and use it repeatedly. He's a lot of fun to be around. He's the hardest working person, maybe besides myself, that I've ever met. And he'll like never say no. He's, yeah, willing to do anything for anybody. And he's just a real stand up kind of guy. So, yeah, that's the best teacher right there, is just how to treat people.
And I think you have some things around your social ground space that he's been a part of.
Oh, yeah. Like, basically everything. Yeah, so my dad helped out a lot with construction of the place. He helped out, like, building the entire coffee bar area. My kitty corner, he did that cute little book tree. He did the yoga tree in the yoga studio. He does the mountain art pictures that are all around. My ice cream pitcher. Yeah, so a lot of different things. He didn't realize that he was an artist or maybe even good at any of these things until retirement, but he loves doing it, just probably because his brain doesn't sleep either and he needs to be busy. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Mm.
amazing. Yeah, it sounds like he's been just a supportive, fantastic part of your journey. And particularly, it's neat all the ways that he's supported you in getting your space set up and
Yeah.
ready to go and a part of that as well. Now, when you look back at your journey so far, what would you say is something that you're the most proud of?
I think just everything. I don't often let myself feel proud. I think it's just the fact that I'm always so busy. So you're just rushing to get out of there at the end of the day, so you could bring your kids to sports or whatever. But there was this one day, it was after one of our high tea events. after everybody had gone home, after all my employees and people that were helping out had left as well. And I just sat in the space and everything just overcame me because I was actually able just to look and I was like, holy moly, look what I did, I think it was like actually like the first time that I actually felt that. I'm like, I did this, I can't even believe that I did. And I can't believe like what I envisioned for social grounds. Like I knew I always wanted this place for people to come and gather, but it has become so much more than I ever could have thought it to be. So yeah, it's just like overwhelming pride. I'm just like so happy for all that it did and has done and will continue doing.
And it's so true, isn't it? It's not often that we like take that breath and sort of really
Hmm.
acknowledge and recognize what we have done. It's so easy to get caught up on the what's next
Yeah,
and moving
yeah.
forward. I'm really glad that you took that opportunity
Oh
to just,
man, yeah. There was a lot of tears that day, but it's just
yeah,
like, yeah, look at this place.
that's
Look at it.
amazing.
Hmm.
And I need you to mention a little bit about the high tea because it
Oh
sounds
yeah.
like an amazing event. So,
Yeah. No, so high tea was brought to me by one of our senior members that they wanted me to put on. So I tried it out the first year. It was very stressful. It was a full house, and we did it on a day that we were open to the public. So we figured we could turn around the space right after the junior high kids came in for lunch, basically. Most of the people that showed up were seniors. So they all showed up very early. Right? So it was very stressful just getting it set up. So I did it again 2 times this year. Both times they sell out like immediately. We bring in all this beautiful china. My mother in law has china enough for 40 people. So we bring in the beautiful china, all the cute little desserts, and we make all the sandwiches and bring in the entertainment. And it's just really nice, it's short and sweet, but everybody leaves happy and they've all had a great time. And they get to know like new people in the community as well. Yeah.
and I love how that idea like came from the community,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
There we go. They
so
all
good.
do. Mm.
Now, if you could sit down and have a conversation with somebody that you would love to learn from, who would that be and why?
Okay. I gave this one some thought. I think it would be actually Martha Stewart. I don't think that I would maybe like her as a person, let's just say, but I think she's very successful and very smart, very driven. I would like to just ask her, like, how did you know when it was time to grow, right? Like, how did she know what to do next? How did you pick yourself back up again after failing, right? Or after going to jail? Yeah. I did watch a documentary about her, and she did say those words that I said earlier about, like, why can't I have it all? Why can't I be a mom and a wife and a business owner, right? Like, why can't I? I think that we maybe do have a bit in common. I think maybe I would be better at treating people well from what I've seen. But I think just like her drive and the fact that she exists on very little sleep and she's always working. I think
Hmm.
those are our similarities for sure.
Yeah, there would definitely be some interesting things gleaned from a conversation with her,
Yeah.
I'm sure, along with her friendship with Snoop Dogg. It's very
Oh,
interesting.
right.
I find that
Oh,
one
yeah.
so
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Now, education, I mean, we've talked about how learning has been such
Mhm.
a huge piece of what happens in your space. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the teaching a little bit more. So,
Okay.
you mentioned like the art classes and the fitness classes. So, where are these people like how are they sort of coming to your space? How are you sort of choosing, I guess, which ones might be a good fit? And what sort of teaching opportunities have you had at Social Grounds?
Okay. Originally, so living in the community and having kids that go to school in the community, I've gotten to meet a lot of people. So originally, I reached out to somebody that I know in the community that's a yoga instructor. So I had her come in a lot, like during construction setup time and like just getting her input on things and all of that. So she was the original yoga instructor. From her, she recommended a couple more. I've had other people just reach out to me and say, "Hey, I want to teach a class. Could I come and teach?" Right. So then we just get together and I get them to do a quick little snippet of their class and see if it's a good fit. Then also with my arts and crafts classes, again, that was a mom that I knew from the community. She was a scout leader and like a brownies leader. So I knew she would be perfect and also very crafty. So yeah, it's just all about the people that I know and just using them and using them, because like I can't teach all these classes. I'm not going to teach yoga. And although I like crafts, I'm not overly good at them, right? So you got to rely on their expertise.
But
Mm,
it's about bringing different minds together
yeah,
and having people share their gifts in different ways, which is
yeah, for
fantastic.
sure.
And you have opportunities like for all ages. Like I see
Mhm.
things for younger kids, and I've
Yeah.
seen moms and babies doing fitness classes, all kinds
Yes.
of things. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, school age children, we have like craft time class and yeah, then adult wellness classes as well.
And some adult
Mhm.
only events too.
Adult only. Yeah. Anytime where there's alcohol, adult only.
Yes,
Yeah.
good to have a mix of all the
Mhm.
things.
That's right.
So, obviously, education plays a big part of what's happening at social
Mhm.
grounds, and really it plays such a big part in everything we do. So, how we work and we live and we play, explore, and build relationships. So, I'm wondering if you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom that could empower or support people on their own teaching or learning journeys.
Let's think about this one here. I would just say that be prepared for things not to work out and be okay and be accepting and be kind to yourself. We all learn from other people too, right? You got to take what we're learning and just apply it to our business. And then also, pick something that you actually like are passionate about and love. And then I don't think that it would ever be difficult, right? Like you would always just love what you do.
That is important.
Yeah.
That is important because we spend a lot of time, right, invested in these
Mhm.
things. So having that passion for what we're doing is so important.
Mhm.
So, Jill, I want to thank you so very much for joining me today and for sharing all your time and your stories and your words of wisdom. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, social grounds, where do people find your place?
Okay, location wise, we're located in Oakridge, a community in Southwest Calgary. The address is 113109 Palliser Drive Southwest. We also have a website. It is www.socialgroundsyyc.ca. And you can also find us on Instagram, which would be Social Grounds YYC, and Facebook, Social Grounds.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you so very much for joining me today,
Yeah,
Jill. It was
thank
great to
you.
connect.
Thanks for being persistent and making me do this, make me come out of my comfort zone again. And it's great talking with you today.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.